What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another review. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. We got a brand new horror movie releasing in theaters and on HBO Max, and this is from one of my favorite horror directors, James Wan, and this is his newest installment, Malignant. This movie stars Annabelle Wallis, Maddie Hasten, and George Young. Madison is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murders, and her torment worsens as she discovers that these wakened dreams are in fact terrifying realities. We're back at it again in the horror genre, and I was really interested and looking forward to this movie in particular because James Wan was at the director's chair. Now, I love James Wan and what he's done in horror, whether that's the first two Conjurings or the first two Insidious movies or the Saw films. But to see James Wan tackle a horror film about a lady just dealing with grief and just experiencing crazy murders and nightmares, like, it just seems like something new for James Wan to tackle into. And I can easily say that Malignant is probably the most unique, craziest horror film I've seen so far this year, but it works. Definitely a very solid horror film from Wan. Just well directed, well acted, and creates new visual aspects that 2021 can provide. The best part about this movie is the visual effects. Now, something James Wan does really well with his horror films is bring visual aspects and imagery into his films. There's a lot of great visual effects in this movie, especially in the jump scares, and I just love the way Wan just builds up his jump scares. You need to bring somebody in like James Wan that knows how to create a damn good jump scare. Even though I don't think the jump scares in this movie are nowhere near The Conjuring or something like Insidious, but I do think the jump scares in this movie, for the most part, were pretty awesome. The acting in this movie is also very good. Now, let's talk about Annabelle Wallis. She hasn't been in the best of movies as of lately, whether that's the first Annabelle or the Mummy remake. But in here, I think Annabelle Wallis gives a really good performance. She's just this heartbroken woman that's dealing with grief and just dealing with all these nightmares, and you really do feel for her in this movie. I did as well, and I just thought Wallis did a great job giving a good dramatic performance and just being really scared. Malignant is one of those movies that is kind of in the same lines as The Night House most recently with Rebecca Hall. It takes you on a really dark trip with these two characters that are just dealing with grief and just dealing with really scary stuff in here. Kind of similar movies, because usually horror movies today are so focused on jump scares and not building character. This movie does build a really good solid lead character and making you care about the intense situation she's in. And that's something James Wan does really well. He knows how to build his characters up. However, though, I have to be 100% honest with you guys. I didn't think this movie was in the same league as the first two Conjuring films for me personally, even though I did think this was a really solid horror film. Sometimes there's other characters in here that are involved to push the plot forward that just don't really give that memorable of an impact to the film, and I kind of felt like that with other characters in here, except for Annabelle Wallis. And it doesn't leave that really big effect of a scare, especially like in the Conjuring films. Like, I was pretty terrified of the nun in The Conjuring 2, or in the first Conjuring with just the creepy old lady. There's nothing really in here that made me go, the creature in here, I'm not going to be terrified of that creature in the next coming years. And I do think the first act is a little bit jumbled. It takes a bit to get into the story. It takes about a good 25 to 30 minutes to really understand what's going on. And I was kind of like that watching that for the first act of this movie. And then it progressively gets more interesting in the third act. that first act was a little bit rough. Before I give you guys my final overall thoughts on Malignant, if this is your guys' first time checking out the channel and you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this movie, definitely hit that like button and consider clicking that subscribe button for more reviews like this every single week on my channel. I also do ranking videos, live Q&As, and I talk a lot about movies on here, and if you love movies as well, you're definitely in the right place. Consider hitting that like and subscribe button and come join this wonderful community. Malignant does hit theaters this week as well as HBO Max, and I would recommend it if you're into James Wan's type of horror films. Although I don't think it is up there with the first two Conjurings or Insidious, but I do think Wallace gives a solid performance. It is pretty unique with the scares, but I wish they were more creepier than they were. So yeah, I would recommend it. It is a solid horror film. On my rating scale, I'm going to give Malignant a B-. There you have it, guys. That was my thoughts on Malignant. What did you guys think of this movie? Did you love it? Think it was okay? Or did you absolutely hate it? Let's discuss it in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. All my social media links are in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.